So the Hells Angels were hit hard. One thing that we have to start realizing in America, I know we have that ego problem when it comes to motorcycle clubs, but things are a lot different when it comes to the rest of the world. They have all kinds of different rules that we do here in the United States. And I've heard it a lot when it comes to Oz, but it also has to extend to countries in Europe, Iceland. It gets really tricky when you travel around the world because you don't know the customs, you don't know the traditions. Some governments are way out there when it has to deal with clubs. They have some draconian laws out there in, say, Europe and in Australia. And one thing that us in the United States has is the Bill of Rights. I know we cry and whine about our government all the time here in the United States. But one thing we do have is our Bill of Rights. And that helped out, I believe, a lot in the Mongols patch case, where there was a First Amendment issue with trying to take their trademark away from them, because once that started, everybody was in trouble when it came to that. So when you hear stories from around the world, you have to say to yourself, wow, we're kind of lucky when it comes to this kind of stuff, especially when it's, the right to association. Now, I know with the no contact orders and stuff like that, you're probably like, well, that's kind of not free and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I do. I get it. I think that is the most unconstitutional thing, is where the government can say, hey, you can't hang around with somebody. And this happens because the DOJ has a lot of these clubs on the criminal listing crap. We get it, I know. But anyway, this story out of Iceland, a lot of people don't understand when you're a member of a motorcycle club, and if you're validated or if you're on a gang task force list, that don't only pertain to the United States. That has to pertain to everything, man. They use them computers, pull it up, say if you want to go to Canada. If you have a gang record, or if you're on a or in a motorcycle club, good luck getting past that border. Good luck with that. Even with the passport, good luck. And that's what happened over in Iceland with the Hells Angels. And here, let's just read it here. 22 members of the Hells Angel motorcycle gang. And you already can see the way that the news article is portraying them, especially when it comes to overseas. We think our media's bad? Ho, ho, ho. It's like these things are like representative of the states when it comes to these newspapers. Anyway, were deported from Iceland on Saturday morning. The Hells Angels are one of several motorcycle gangs that are gaining ground in Iceland, and the expelled members have suspected ties to organized crime. Within that one little paragraph, it said motorcycle gangs twice, and then it went on to say organized crime. Now, later on in the week, we're going to have a discussion about motorcycle clubs and organized crime. And it's something, hey, if we're going to go out there and talk, we got to make sure it is upfront correct that there are some individuals within clubs that do some hardcore gang stuff, organized crime. I seen a story over in Australia where it was like, wow, this dude who has $100 million net worth is now leading the Comancheros. So we can't ignore that kind of stuff, nor can we forget that it's different everywhere. It is. Here we go now. This is not the first time this year that members of an international motorcycle club have been expelled from Iceland upon arrival. So they're keeping it pretty uniform right there, where they're saying to all these major clubs, hey, you're not welcome here. Why you'd want to go to Iceland anyway? I don't know. It's kind of cold out there. What do you ride snowmobiles? What do you do here? Do you have a snowmobile, part of the club? I don't know. Anyway, a high-ranking member of the Bandidos motorcycle club last February in Sweden was deported. 3 members of the Finnish Bandidos club were deported in October of 21, and Bandidos MC is another motorcycle. It just says motorcycle. Don't say motorcycle club, motorcycle gang, like they did in the last paragraph. They kind of missed that one. With international chapters that is believed to have established a foothold in Iceland. That is one thing that us Americans can say is that's a big export of ours, is some of these motorcycle clubs. And these other countries are not too happy with us for doing it. I just find it amazing. I do, as an American, I find it amazing to sit back and watch this kind of stuff, because we're not used to the government saying, well, you know what, you're part of a motorcycle club, you got to get out of our country. Where here in the U.S., man, you just walk across the border, do what you want, basically. You know what I mean? We've been having that kind of problem. And when you get here, they're not trying to throw you out. They're saying, here, have some public aid here and welfare there. You know what I mean? I'm getting that. But when you try to go into the different countries, they hold by what they're all about. If they're saying, hey, we're not going to put up with this, well, you can usually, figure they're not going to put up with it. And if I think it's Denmark that actually banned the Bandidos, and I don't know if they did the Hells Angels, but it actually went through this process where the government, basically through the court system, named them criminals and said, you know what, you're banned. I know in Germany there was Hells Angels, and they went through and just ransacked everything, man. They went through and got all their stuff. Everything. They took their money, their clubhouse, the whole 9 yards. And you sit back and say, wow, how lucky are we in the United States that something like that could be fought, or something like that wouldn't be allowed. Some people bang on this civil liberties organization or that one, but you have to admit, when they really got to get involved, they get involved, man, to stop this kind of stuff. I know there was a lot of amicus briefs filed in the Mongols patch case, because a lot of people were worried that, hey, if the government can come along and say, hey, we want your trademark because you have 1 or 2 idiots out there doing something, this is going to affect a lot of people. People like, well, these clubs are gangs, blah, blah, blah. I hear it all the time from the Leo supporters. You can always spot them in my comment sections. Always spot them. Well, they're criminals, they're trash, blah, 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 blah. They buy into the state propaganda argument. That's what they always do. They always will. They'll always buy into that garbage. And it is kind of laughable, because here they are calling others garbage while they're trying to emulate those that they're calling garbage. So it really doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, you send 22 members over to a country and they get expelled just because of their membership in a motorcycle club. It's time to stay away from that country, because you don't know what the hell else that they do. At least you got expelled. But that just goes to show everybody, especially here in the United States, cherish what you have. because a lot of other places, you don't have that kind of freedom. Anyway, we're going to go to the second half of the show right now. We're talking about Go Woke, Go Broke with China Doll. We'll be right back. And thanks for visiting Insane Throttle's YouTube channel. Don't forget, we have shorts as well. Check that out if you're in a hurry. Get an overview and watch the bigger video later. Also, don't forget to go over to Insane Throttle Wheels, subscribe over there, and listen in on Harley Davidson talk, motorcycle talk, everything going on in the scene. Rock on.